Hello, welcome to the Oswald Game. I'm your host, Rob. Welcome to Stream for 8 Day 1. I'm joined today by a quadrangle of gangsters. Dayton from Party of the All Points.
Hey, Rob, and everyone else. Tom, and fuck you, John.
Tom from the WTC podcast and that Thursday show.
Yeah, hi.
And also John from Drawing Pictures and Doing Things. Hey, John.
Hello.
There you go. Sorry, everyone, that we're late in the game. We were having some technical issues, but I solved it. I'm a bit of an engineer nowadays. I don't know if you know that. I can fix windows and flatten beds. So if anyone ever needs me for any things, let me know.
Windows
let's be fair,
POS or Windows for physical phone?
Yeah.
Your full talent is 3D
in the
printed
bed,
now.
then.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. What did you say, John?
You finally got some skills involving beds, then.
Wow, rude. Dayton.
If you're expecting us to be able to not overtalk each other, like this is like the AOS show on Mondays, then you're sadly mistaken.
Yeah. Anyway, show on Monday is mainly me and Dan trying to talk over each other, with Nathan occasionally quipping in, and James going, "It's interesting, isn't it?" Like,
That's who's James? I only know Meg's boyfriend.
exactly. That's all
Yes.
I know him as well. Meg's boyfriend. Hello, everyone in the chat.
Or my sex slave.
Yes, Meg's sex slave. Hello, everyone in the chat. Lovely to see you all here. Adam, I'm going to send you that video after this. Dude Our Day, big love to you. Scott B, what up? Rabid, Bun66, Hilloth, 000, hope you're well. Scytherin, hope you're well. Where's the Vermintide team? Dude Our Day. No, I'm going to say it now.
Wait till Dark Tide.
I don't like it. All you're doing is just like pressing the smash button, basically.
I like that.
That's all you do.
That's all we do in life.
Yeah, it's true. What we do in life is we'll echo through eternity. Press the smash button. Okay. Yeah, I'm not into it, basically. Right, so Dayton, catch us up. How you been? What's been going on the past week?
No, it's been fantastic. Sorry, I've been back to work, so I'm gonna miss one more. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna miss any more Sundays for the next 8 weeks.
Oh, lovely. Oh, lovely.
Because I got school starting again. So.
Oh, okay. Are you excited about school?
Yeah, it's all right. Learning new skills, like how to teach you how to fix your washing machine.
That's what I'm going to be learning later today. That's one of my new skills.
Been playing tons of TTS, painting my Necrons. After this, I got to play Owen Jackson on TTS.
The undisputed king of TTS, I think, at this stage.
Yeah, pretty much.
Who have you been playing on TTS?
Mostly Budtastic, because it's the Canadian superpower, right?
Yes, of course. Yeah, are you guys in kind of like a Rocky style training montage where you guys are going to try and become like the best players ever, and then like just very nicely conquer the world? Are you the true North A meta? NA meta, sorry.
I would be the trainer then, because Bud's the one that's showing the skills improving, not me.
So you can teach an old dog new tricks.
Bud?
Yeah,
yeah.
You call it Bud old?
Well, he's older.
He's older than me.
Boy, I love that you're playing TTS, which is a piece of software that you can use to play anyone in the world, and you use it to play another Canadian.
To be fair,
yeah, that's fucking far.
And also, it's the practicality of time zones. Like I could play someone in America, but I'd have
all
to
right,
be
okay.
up
You
there,
guys,
right?
you guys can all be cringe
13
and
hours.
well,
14
actually, about it if you want to. But
Oh,
okay.
sorry,
Hey,
Thomas.
I just said I'm playing Owen Jackson after this. Tom, is that happy?
Yeah, it's much better.
but also Bud is like a 16-hour drive, isn't he?
Yeah, 14 hours.
It's a lot closer than everybody else.
And then I like how Rob does. Yeah, I like how Rob does breakfast battles and just excludes the North American content from being able to play.
Yeah, don't know what to
Play in
tell
the
you.
evening.
Like, I might do afternoon arrangements, but give me some time. The alliteration works, so that's why they're there. Plus, also, it's like a good opportunity, like to just get out of the house as early as possible for the midday show. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do, is kick my ass, because I know one day. One of the really motivating points this week was when we did the tournament coverage for the Fat Middle event, and it was like first rounds at 8 a.m. and I was like, 8 a.m. That means I have to get up before 8 a.m. I was like, what the hell? And I forgot what general. I forgot generally what how early we had to get up for events, because you got to get up, you got to do the prep before, so you got to do, even when you're the talent. I have to get up.
What time did we have to get up for the Wales event when we were literally like 5-minute walks around the corner?
7
It was earlier than that, wasn't it?
We still have to get up early.
Well, if you're Nikos, you don't go to bed at all, so you just, you don't actually have to get up. If you're everybody else, you have to get up at, like 6:30, 7, something like that?
Yeah, you have to get up so early. And it's such a long day, isn't it, really? Because you get up super early, and then you don't finish till super late, and then you're prepping for the next day. So they're long-ass days. Look, there aren't people who do, other people around the world do long-ass days, and I'm sure there's a whole bunch of healthcare professionals like, oh, you poor babies, you have to get up early so that you can talk about toys. Yes, we hear you. I recognise that. But yeah, having the breakfast battles early is useful. Anyway, but you've been enjoying them. Did you kick anyone's ass, Dayton?
Yeah, I've been doing pretty good. Joe smashed me, but that's to be expected. He doesn't pull punches.
Joseph M. Pagano.
Joseph N. Pagano. Yeah, he's gonna see if I keep getting up. You know when Batman just keeps getting smacked down and we gotta keep getting back up? Or is that Spider-Man?
It's Captain America. I can do this all day.
Wait,
yeah,
who
that's
is it?
basically what Joe's
The
doing
Red
to me.
Scorpion.
Then yeah, other than that, I'm playing Bud, and then I'm sure Owen's gonna smash me. And then I hiked a mountain yesterday to part of my regulars training to get ready for Owen.
That's pretty impressive.
So that's what we do in the north.
Did you roll any large rocks down or up the hill?
No, you can't get to the rocks because there's 6 feet of snow covering them.
6
Snow.
feet of snow.
Oh.
Jeez. It's been snowing here in England. We had maybe 1 to 2 centimetres. Hi, Primark, big love. Matt Readiness, what up? Afternoon to Will Dockerow. Yeah, we've had plenty. Tom, what's it like in the cold North Sheffield?
Fine. I still have to go outside and work. So I get lobbed in a classroom full of 18 5 to 7-year-olds and get told to teach them for an entire afternoon. And I'm like, oh, well, shit.
Like, here's the shake and bake technique.
I just made listen.
As if they listen.
Here's an iPad, fuck off.
Do you equate teaching 5 to 7-year-olds the same as trying to talk to NA scrubs about 40k?
No. The NA scrubs actually listen and sometimes have good points, whereas the small children are unfortunately small children. So, Rob, if I was just to bash NA at every opportunity, it would make all the other criticisms I have of NA insincere. So whenever I say something about it, I actually believe it.
Okay. All right.
So,
I just thought I was trying to meme it.
I know. What I'm saying is I don't want to water it down because I genuinely believe they suck balls. See, you came in too early.
That way. No, you're right. Early. I'm making a mistake. I'm sorry. I won't push the agenda. I'll let it just.
Mate, I'm not even a teacher. Like, I'm just getting lobbed in a room full of kids. What I'm meant to do is. So I played my first game with Demons on Friday. So I'm playing a scrim with the Scottish, and we're playing against the English.
Can you describe a scrim to everyone?
It's basically a practice 8v8 on Tabletop Simulator with WTC rules, right? And I was playing. So I came in. I was like, I'm a ring. I'm like, hey, what up? And I'm like, oh, what do you want to play? And I'm looking down the list, and I'm like, well, no one's playing Demons, so I'll just play Demons. So I was literally in a classroom just writing my notes on what all my units do the day of the game with the Demons. So I wrote a 4-page doc with all my rules on it so I could actually reference them and understand what was going on. So, yeah, that was fun. I got more points than the Polish did against the horrific Harlequins list they were running. So that was a W, but it wasn't very many points.
I mean, it makes sense to write a demon list when you're basically in the warp. Because if you fill a room full of 5 to 7-year-olds, it's basically chaos.
It's chaos. It is chaos. Yeah. So, well, I just went into the Scottish chat and said, "Hey, Simon, what's your list? Stolen, changed, yoink, fine." It's like, I don't know why this is good. What psychic powers do you take again? All right, then, fine. What's that you say? 1 squad of Harlequins just killed 47 demonettes in a turn. All right, then, that's fine. Because he did some clever stuff with there's a stratagem you can use to fall out of combat towards like the nearest transport. So we charged 2 units, like chopped one up, which even with -1 attack was a lot. Then he fell out 6 inches towards the nearest transport, and then he fought again to fight against the other unit he charged. Because he consolidated out of an inch, but because he declared the charge, he could still consolidate 3 inches. So that he just piles in, fights the other unit, and it's like, oh well, okay then. So that's 70 attacks in one turn. It cost him a lot of CP, but it was very cool.
I got a question for everyone. John, also hi. Hope you're well. Are you well?
I'm all right. Yeah, I'm good. I've been keeping myself busy, so can't complain.
My question is, because obviously we mentioned TTS twice there, and do you guys feel that like a great advantage, Tom, Dayton, and John? Do you feel like it's going to be a good advantage when we do get back to proper gaming? That you'll have had all these experiences, even if it's not maybe as many experiences as you would have wanted, or the experiences that you would have liked. Do you feel like it's going to have been a good like learning tool for when events do rock back around?
I can go on that. So yes, it's been good for keeping me warm.
I like how you go on when you stuff your face full of food.
Yeah,
we have two other co-hosts that have nothing in their mouth. But no.
Keep going. Let
me take a snack
no,
on my
I'm
lunch.
having it.
And
I'm
then
having
I'll talk
it.
about
We've
this.
got an hour there. Fuck you. So it's fine. So, oh fuck, I forgot what my point was now. Oh, shit.
Yeah, you go in, mate. It's fine.
No, it's fine. So it's good for keeping you warm. I'm still not as comfortable with how I'm playing as I was like this time last year when I was actually really happy with how I was playing. But it is all relative, right? So I was talking to the Swedish captain yesterday. He's played 84 games of 9th.
Wow.
I've played 16. So if that guy's coming at me, I'm like, well, I mean, the tabletop simulator was useful, but it wasn't that useful.
Yeah, I think. So what? He's played them all on Tabletop Simulator.
I mean, I'm assuming so. I haven't asked him. I know Sweden has some kind of like more liberal COVID restriction rules, right?
I feel liberal is the wrong word. I feel like more esoterically unhinged is a better description.
I was being polite, but okay, that's fine. Because anyway, but yeah, I know
this
they're
is
not
the honest show, Tom.
but I don't have enough information upon the lockdown logistics of Sweden to make a comment. So Rob can do it. That's fine.
Yeah, I've been keeping track.
Well, they're all pirates anyways, right?
They basically put all the old people in homes, Tom. They put all the old people in homes who were like, lol, let's all crack on. Yeah. And then a couple of infections got into all the old people's homes and they were like, oh, we made a huge mistake here. Oh, no, I'm not laughing at it. I would just like you to point out more the strategy as opposed to more like sending the Dothraki in charge in first. Yeah. With the flamey swords.
That's fine, they regenerate.
Yeah. They do. Anyway, have you got any thoughts on it, Dayton?
Yeah, of course. I got my Daughters of Cain that I've been putting together, and I've been playing quite a few Daughters of Cain lists against Bud. So that's going to make me able to, once we do open, who knows when, I'll be able to hit the tournament scene and have an idea of what my army does instead of trying to figure it out at a tournament like I usually do, because I don't get to play practice games. So this is fantastic for me. My practice games is game 1 of a tournament.
Hoping.
Right.
It's good for me because it's helping me get out like all the really horrible lists that are in my head, like the Phoenixes, just all the shitty
garbage
ideas that are in my head. I'm like, let's just get that out, get it on the tabletop, crack on. Oh no, that does suck. Okay, perfect. So that's useful. There's a Carrick Acolyte list that I'm tempted by next week for the breakfast battles, which I'm like, this definitely is shit, but let's try. Let's see what this looks like. So I think it's good for that because then you don't end up purchasing the item. John, what you got any thoughts?
I've not really been doing the TTS thing. I've been holding off just in hope because obviously during the summer I still got to play and I just got in as many games as I could, and I thought that tied me over, and I thought, oh, this bit will be quite short. But I'm getting to the point where I'm probably now going to have to look into TTS again because
COVID's a minor thing. It'll blow
Yeah.
over real fast.
Yeah, it seems to be speeding up now. It's fine.
Yeah,
But it's like I thought I could just focus on the hobby side, but I'm still getting that itch where I'm just like I'm started building an Uruk War Clans army, so I thought that's probably a good way to learn it. If I do smaller games on there and just kind of, I can make mistakes there rather than it being a Friday night club night thing. So
like one of the things I've always said, like, and I'll constantly say, like, I hope I've played enough Warhammer now in my life. And if you listen to, let's say, my game against Owen the other day, you'll hear it. Where even I know I'm playing shit, but I played enough that learning to play isn't what I'm doing anymore. I'm now learning to I'm playing the game either well or badly. Either one of those two. I'm still playing, if that makes sense. Like I'm still actively I'm not having to learn how to play, which I think is the important point in getting that. So thank you to Will Docker on the chat for subscribing. Big love to you, and also thank you to Ange for subscribing as well. That's big love. So go on. Yeah, that's his name. That's right.
That's Goose. That's Goose from the Bucks Wargamers.
Is it?
Yeah, it's Goose because his name's Angus. All these years.
My God. Sorry, Goose.
Too much.
What a great name. Angus. Okay. Well, anyway, I think it's generally a good thing, isn't it? TTS. I don't think we need to bang on about that too much anymore. But ultimately,
no, it's not going anywhere.
No, I agree.
By the way, good. I just want to comment. Good shit on GW for not taking the files down with lawyers.
I don't know if they could.
I don't know.
Conversation all the time, but yeah.
I mean, if it's on Steam, then surely you can, right? If it's on the Steam Workshop, I think you can, but the other ones, I don't think you can.
It would show up elsewhere.
Yeah, it would, but at least they haven't kicked him off the fucking Steam one, so very easy to find.
That is true. That is a positive. That is a positive. What was I going to say? Okay, so you guys ready for me? Unless anyone's got anything hot they want to talk about, something did get raised to me this week, which I thought was an interesting topic. If you guys,
the 5-point drop on plague drones. Tell me
more.
Oh
my God! Let's talk Deathguard. Let's go. 5-point drop on Deathguard on plague drones.
Well, it's actually demons, but yeah.
Didn't the Blight Haulers go up there?
Yeah.
Yes, by 30 points.
That's a yikes.
Yeah, they took a good kick in the nuts. So obviously their aura is going to be banging or something.
Yeah. That's the hope. I mean, they've got some pretty good stuff on their ballistic skill went up. Anyway, so they went from BS3
they all
to
did.
BS. Yeah, I'm not saying
all plague, everything's going to be dropping to BS3. Yet their points didn't go up. Plague crawlers are awesome. And the blight drones are really good, 130 points, because there's no points associated with the plague spears. So I think those drones are going to be 130 points, which is a steal.
I'm excited to see what the actual book looks like. It looks like we've started to see some of that information come out through the community site. So I'm expecting the pre-orders, maybe next Saturday. Might be when we see the pre-order.
The same time as the winter FAQ.
They've announced the winter FAQ for Age of Sigmar. What did you say, John?
There was an article for Deathguard this week that said very soon, which is normally their code for it's pre-order on Sunday. The announcement will be Sunday, ready for next Saturday.
Yeah, well, it's Sunday today, so we'll learn today.
6 o'clock.
Yeah,
6 o'clock GMT, we'll find out.
Which means, because the exciting factor is we always get it a week early, because if it comes out on Saturday, or if it goes pre-order on Saturday, that means all the content creators are going to put their videos up on Friday night, so we'll know all the information next Saturday. So
does Man still read book?
Yeah, Man still reads book. Yeah. Although actually, I don't know if Man still reads book gets book anymore.
Oh no,
because it's been a while, right?
Yeah,
there hasn't been a book for him to read.
Oh really? What about the other playtesters? Well, he's not a playtester. The playtesters
the honest
get
ones.
No,
he's a content creator.
Yeah, he's not.
He creates the content and not just reads it.
Was Blood Angels the last book that would have been sent out to anyone? If so, that means it's been a good couple of months now, hasn't it? It's been a bit of a dry spell.
Released, right? So I would assume so. Yeah.
So it's just we've had not many recently. So
yeah, it's because we missed out the Deathguard book, right? And then we've got Dark Angels to drop along with the Deathguard, and then we've got Drakari.
Drakari,
yeah. After that,
there's actually 3 before we know 3 whole books that we know are coming out. So it's pretty good that we know how much is coming out before it's started, if that makes sense. Normally it's we know the next 1, maybe 2, but we know the next 3 in a row, which is pretty awesome. Oh, I think it's awesome anyway. Don't know you guys.
Yeah,
it definitely makes it easier. Well, it actually makes it easier to plan from my perspective as well, because I was talking about this a little bit before the show. I'm trying to organise the Welsh team and what we're looking at playing.
Yeah.
And along with just everyone fighting over Marines, and I also get to say, oh well, test this for now, but maybe you can have a look at this when this drops. So it's a case of people not getting too committed to a faction because they know there's something they might be interested in coming down the line.
Okay, that's a good point. Dayton, you got any thoughts?
On the release schedule?
Hmm.
Yeah, give us all the information. Give us the whole year.
The whole year. Oh, Wolfman Nori, thanks for donating £5 to the show. Oh, you guys are great.
I mean, everything's in limbo right now anyway, so.
They take that approach with the Necromunda books, saying this quarter it's this book, and it works because then you go, right, I won't touch that.
They've done it with Underworlds too, right?
Yeah, and it makes sense. It just makes it easier for us all to plan a bit, and then I probably would end up spending just as much, if not more, because there's that temptation of, oh, well, I could look at that book as well. It's not always just the ones I'm already fiddling around with.
Mate, to earn myself, because I've been buying all the codices, right, as they come out, all the physical ones. But I feel like rather than just walking into a store and dropping the money, I need to make
all
myself...
your option is physical ones now.
Yeah.
Tom.
Well, I wanted to earn it, so this was like last week. Right?
Humble brag.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Well, I could get the app, I suppose, right? You know.
No,
so
doesn't
I
work.
walked all the way from my house in the suburbs to the city centre just to make myself earn the book. I thought that was cool, and I'm very proud of myself because that was 7 miles.
Right, everyone clap for Tom.
Yeah,
there you go.
Go me. What are you paying there, Rob?
I'm just painting some Deathguard. I'm still trying to do these Blight Lord Terminators. I was just showing Lou on the chat the ogre model I've printed.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's pretty outrageous. I'm pretty chuffed with those guys. So yeah, but I'm just painting my Deathguard. Excited for the Deathguard rules. Thanks to Shinehawk for subscribing. But yeah, like I've sent all you guys pictures of the these. What's wrong with Shinehawk? I think it's the first time he's subscribed. Welcome to the team, Shinehawk. But yeah, I've sent you guys pictures of these. What did you guys think of the detail? Pretty good.
Yeah, it's ace.
Yes, like to me, it was the sharpness of the lines made the difference to me because a lot of the early kind of 3D printed stuff I saw all often looked a bit kind of like the lines of like detail just seemed kind of a bit not quite there. Whilst that just looks so sharp, especially you pointed out on the blade, like on the hilt, there's loads of like detailing. It just looks so crisp.
Yeah, you're looking for the level lines from it layering, and you don't get that with those models. But he has a 4K printer, so it's pretty baller.
Yeah,
it's outrageous. Like I have been in awe looking at this model for a day now, and I've like cleaned it up, and then I've also like primed it with like a nice matte grey spray. And it's just wild, like the detail. I was really unconvinced, if I'm honest. I'm a bit blown away because I was very, very unconvinced that this was going to look good because I've seen so many 3D printed models and they look shit. But I think so many people are doing photos of them when they've just come out of the vat and instead of after they've been through the wash process and they've cured. And then again, obviously, like very much like when you're like your primer model anyway that's like grey plastic, so much more detail pops out once you like shine a model.
Rob, we can make a horde of naked custodies.
Oh my god. That's the only reason I'm here for it. Like,
hey Tom, are you gonna get a tattoo of the Welsh dragon now?
No.
On your arm?
Absolutely.
On your
not.
chest?
Gonna get it along
or on your back?
Considering I'm not actually Welsh, no. If we win the WTC, I will.
Okay.
There you go.
Let's go.
Now rig it for me, please.
It was the battle standard of King Arthur, though, Tom. Are you saying you don't want the battle standard of King Arthur on you?
That's what I'm saying, yes.
And then when Wales lose, you can all get like a little tear to say that part of you died.
That was never part of the bet.
Of little Welsh dragons.
Yeah.
Welsh dragon face tattoo
Salty
or nothing.
tears.
That's all I want. Welsh dragon face tattoo. That's the only way to do it.
I feel like the salty tears in Nikos one. Just him just assaulting a crying child. Just like you know that like meme of that person walking in with like the belt or something, and there's just a kid on the floor.
So something came up in a chat, and there's someone I'm going to ask to come on the show next week to talk about it. But I thought I'd ask you guys about it because you're all already the guy who I'm going to ask is a therapist. So I'm going to ask. I'm just getting the screenshot up. Sorry. So the guy who posted this is already like a therapist and was already like talking about it in a Facebook chat, and it went a bit like viral in the chat. It had like hundreds and hundreds of comments. and I kind of wanted to know what you guys thought about it. So it's meant to be like a mental health thing, which I know, Dayton, you're super into, and see what you guys like what your take on it is, because you're all very different hobbyists. So I'd be very interested to see what your thoughts were.
Perspective.
Yes, basically. So it was a post in the Trapped Under Plastic Facebook group, to give everyone their credit, by Darren Scott, to give him his credit. And this is the post. I'm going to read it out and then see what you guys think. Okay. Can we talk a moment about the unacknowledged problem in the miniature enthusiast community? Everyone's got a massive dick. No, that's not what he said, but that's true.
It is true. That is a big problem.
It's a big problem. If not, at least, even if you've got like a medium one, the energy from the miniature gaming community is massive dick energy. Like, that's true.
It really goes on a tangent about that on the quote.
Yes, this is all in this quote, by the way. I'm referring to unchecked impulse buying and hoarding. Because when I read this, I was like, wow, I feel this in my own bones. So, I've seen a shocking number of posts of people who have hoarded tens of thousands of dollars worth of minis that they're never going to assemble, let alone paint or play with. If this is you, by the way, please don't be hurt. I'm a therapist, says Darren Scott. Not I, Rob. Not a therapist. If anything, a anti-therapist.
That requires a clipping, by the way. Just Rob saying he's a therapist.
Not a doctor.
Not a doctor. And let me say that this behaviour isn't funny. Oh, okay, well, let's get serious. It's not just one of those things. It's a serious issue that can cause problems in one's life and indicates psychological problems in one's life, such as depression or addiction or lack of impulse control. If you find yourself doing this, I urge you to talk to a mental health professional to help you develop healthy coping skills. Now, I saw someone respond to this. This would make a good podcast, and someone was like, "No, it wouldn't. It would just be it's kind of an issue. Yeah, go see a therapist." I'll let you guys have a think on it for a moment before you want to, unless you want to jump in straight away.
Tom, do you want to eat your dinner first and then talk about it?
I've eaten my dinner, mate. I'm fine. And that was my breakfast. Thank you very much.
Myself.
Go on, John. What are you saying?
So, after the last lockdown, where I basically just went, I'm buying a new army, and I just sat on it, and then I looked around, and I had so much stuff that I just looked at and went, I'm probably never going to do that army. The kind of inspiration and kind of need for that army 6 months ago has petered away. Do I need that? And then I kind of had a long look at myself and just went, I buy stuff because I get that kind of reward of I've bought something, this is cool, and then it fizzles out. And I made myself a promise that it was very much, I'll do a project, I'll do it kit by kit, and it'll hopefully be a bit more healthier and constructive, and also financially less of a burden. And that's something I've been trying to hold myself to, and that's why I'm doing lots of little mini projects. But it is tough, right? Because you get all these new releases. Like, the schedule of new releases doesn't help with that either. It perpetuates that. You see something new and you go, well, I've got to do that. I've got that army. And it's like, well, actually, it can wait. It's not going to just go out of stock immediately and stay out of stock.
Well, I mean, I think there's a whole point to discuss there, ultimately, in Games Workshop's marketing practice. Now, they're a company in a capitalist society, so they're going to have aggressive marketing strategies. I believe that is always going to be the case. So less on that generally, but more on unlike other companies, par example, like they effectively definitely don't have a strategy or intend a strategy for their consumer where they want their consumer to invest well. What I mean by that is they don't look at their release schedule and they think, right, we're intending to create an environment where our customers can buy something and it's pretty much they can keep it forever, sort of a situation. They intentionally work along the philosophy that they're going to outdate. Obviously, I'm talking about books and rules. They're going to outdate huge elements of what they do. So there's obviously that intent anyway, and they don't put anything more productive in place for that. Whereas miniatures, on the miniature side of it, pretty much after the big culling of Age of Sigmar and 40k over the past few years, we've ended up with, I would say, a fairly solid game state where you can pretty much buy anything and it's probably not outdated. I probably wouldn't buy Grotesques for Drukhari anytime soon because they're fugly. But designed obsolescence, that's the term. Thanks, Scott B. So the books and rules are intentionally designed obsolescence, whereas the miniatures are, I would say, mainly not is kind of my statement. So Games Workshop definitely don't help with the situation, but I do wonder, Dayton, you got any thoughts on it?
Yeah. Well, to go back to what his original statement is about addiction, if everyone wants to, I put a link in the chat. There's a guy who made a book called In the Realm of Hungry Ghosts, because that's the Buddhist term for when you're feeling addiction. And it's basically buying to satisfy yourself, but you give yourself a little bit of a joy, but it doesn't actually fill you. Everyone has addiction. This it was written by a guy named Gaber Mate. He's an MD. He worked in Vancouver in BC has a street called Hastings, and it's like basically our addiction street. It's where all our addicts hang out, and they have like hotels and stuff for them to stay at and all this jazz. But he studied there for like 13 years and studied these people and then wrote this book about it. So everyone has addiction is basically the sum of it, whether it be music. Like he talks about, he has an addiction to, he buys guitars and like listens to music a lot, and that's an addiction. It's everyone has these things, and basically that's what we have. We're addicted to this, right? And the buying is just to satisfy ourselves, and I don't know if it's necessarily harmful. I wouldn't necessarily agree with what that guy was saying, but it is something that you need to acknowledge on yourself, that we are addicted to these things. Well, but it's a really good book. You should read it.
Oh, no, I appreciate that, and we will include that in a link to that in the show notes below. So I've opened that up in the browser, so I appreciate that. I would say that like we had Sinise on the show several months ago, and he was talking about the difference between, and Will saying in the chat, Will Dockerell, Sinise.
No. Oh yeah, there it is.
No, that's a different Will. The difference between is it?
Different guy.
The difference between happiness and contentment is something I work hard to recognize, says Will. And that is the difference. So, John, that's pretty much the journey we're talking about with you, where you were getting that kind of like that sudden rush when you would buy something, and that contentment. Yeah. I know. For me, having like put all these armies together over lockdown and actually like finishing them off has been a real big positive. And I find myself doing something I do a lot less, which is what I was doing several years ago when I was doing club promoting. Just to be personal for a moment, as much as it's the most hilariously fun job in the world, I basically get paid to make everyone have a party. I work very little, and it's a great time, and you make crazy money. I was really unhappy. I didn't enjoy it at all, ultimately. Like, it wasn't like... It sounds fun, and it's fun in the moment, just like any night out is fun. But as a job, I didn't like find it overly fun. That's what got me into learning how to shoot videos and edit videos. I was always looking for like what my career was going to be while I was also doing that. And then I found Warhammer, and I definitely would buy things to make myself happy. I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to start this army. And like now I definitely recognize that as behavior over the past like few years. And I would wake up like some days and just be like scrolling through the web store and like, you know, put like a basket together. And that's not something I've done for years now. So that's not something that's part of like my process for happiness. Whereas now I'm like, achieve a job, like do a little job, get that sorted, or eat a jam sandwich. One of those two, pretty much like nails.
Or buy sex toys, whatever, right?
Or sex toys. But I'm worried I'm addicted to those two. I think that's my major problem with that. Tom, you got any thoughts on the post and everything in general?
I kind of like get it from, so I think like when I most had this issue was back in 7th edition, and in 7th edition what you could do was you could summon demons, right? So you would have like you'd be able to summon a certain power level demon unit every turn or whatever. There was no points cost to it, so it was just a case of how many demons do you have in your bucket, and that's like what you can summon, right? And in that case I felt like I was doing it because there was no like control on it. It was more just collecting demons to use, right? Like, the more demons you had, the more you could potentially just plop out there, right? Whereas since then, I buy units for 2 reasons. One, because I've got a list that I've already written up and I want to use that list, which is fine. Or 2, because I'm collecting stonks. So if I see like a, I don't sell any of my models. When I'm out, I'm fully out, and I'm going to sell pretty much everything apart from like maybe like 1 memento army, if that makes sense. But if I see like a full guard army for like 20 quid, that stonks, okay? So I'm going to go get that because I know, regardless of what I do, if I never use this army, when I'm out, I can probably make more money from it, right? But if I do choose to use that army, great, I've already got the pieces there. So it is a case of hoarding. Yes, I'm definitely a hoarder, but I have it all catalogued. I know exactly what I've got. And it's a case of it being an investment rather than it being me just buying for the sake of satisfaction.
Yeah, I can completely see your point, and I think also that mirrors K-Dread's point in the chat. Most people buy the plastic so they can hobby and go meet people and have a social life, which is great for the mental health. Which is why I think like the hobby has exploded a little bit over lockdown or over these times, because we've all been sat finally having to stare at the pile and I've been like, okay, there's no excuse.
We are in the golden age of gaming right now.
Yeah, we are. There was no opportunity to go out. I have to get them done. I'm kind of like blown away thinking about how many armies we're going to see when events rock around. How many people are like, oh yeah, I've got like 8 armies now. You're like, 8? It's like, yeah, I just painted everything I had. And it turns out that's 8 armies. You're like, oh,
you people
shit.
finished full armies, not just did odd bits? Wow,
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
So Lou Diamond said I had a ton of motivation to paint at the beginning of lockdown, but it's kind of dying off. I mean, that's kind of the good about... there's Kerry from the Hobby Room, her and her boyfriend who works for Games Workshop, they've created an app called the Pile of Potential. If you guys have seen this.
Yeah,
It's
cool.
similar to the figure case, but I think it's in browser. I haven't had a look.
Oh, it's in browser, not in an app.
I'm not certain. I haven't checked it out. I just use figure case.
Hilarious that there's another app come out of like a Games Workshop subsidiary in which is Ben working like.
It's almost like these people leave Games Workshop and they're suddenly creative.
No, he's still there. He still works there.
Oh, right. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's a web browser.
Oh, okay. Have you used it yet, Dayton, or looked at it?
No, I'm just looking at it right now. Pile of potential.
Pile of Potential. I also have not used it, but I'm giving it a shout out for people who might want to use it, which I think you can track and trace. AOS Coach did a video on it, which I didn't watch. But like, there's.
I think you know what exists.
You gotta be honest.
but like that's not because it was Coach. It's just like I was like, I just don't care enough about this. Like
It was because it was Coach.
Because I don't need an app to help me with this. I'm like, I can see the Deathguard, paint the Deathguard. I get where I'm at. But some people like to be a little bit more organized with that. And Tom, you've been doing that already with the figure case thing, right?
Yeah, I've been doing exactly that. It's £3 for the app, so it's not free.
Oh, it's not a free app.
I don't believe so. I think it's £3. But mate, I bought it for £3 and it was really, really useful. I heavily recommend.
Oh no,
really
you're
good.
talking about figure case, not the Pile of Potential thing.
Yes, that's what you did say. Figure case. Sorry.
Yeah.
So that's what I was talking about. But yes.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
It's like just put all your models in your hair.
Huh?
True. Yeah. It's like
organizes them all in his hair.
have a sideboard. I've run out of reinforcements. Bush. Straight out.
So one of my motivational tips actually is I actually put all of the models that I'm meant to be painting right now in a bum bag, and I take it with me everywhere. And so that like people keep asking what's in your bum bag, and then I have to show them the models. And honestly, the shame makes me just immediately go home and paint so quickly.
As you 3D
Question though,
print
Rob.
more models.
Yeah.
Are you wearing that bum bag like all the cool kids are now, and wearing actually like a bandolier across your chest?
Those drug
no.
dealers, John.
Yeah.
Those are drug dealers.
No.
They will
No.
have party favors.
Not just they're literally 14-year-old kids that are definitely not drug dealers because
They
they
will
live
have
in this
not
town.
party favors for you. Hate to bring it to you. 14-year-old Dayton had some drugs.
I love Dayton. Everywhere Dayton sees, you just see some kids
Drugs.
who've ordered a side bag off ASOS because they want to look like a cool kid. Yeah, and Dayton's like, it's full of drug dealers outside, love. Full of them.
Rob, the only other person
Swimming
in
in
the
them.
tournament scene to wear a bum bag is also the sexiest man in the tournament scene. So
Dayton.
I mean, like it's okay.
Yeah. 14-year-old kids and 40-year-old Owen never grow up. That's right. Yeah, you're talking about everyone in London right there, Dayton. If you went to London, you'd be like, this place is full of drug dealers. And while you'd also be right,
This place
it wouldn't
parties.
be. Yeah, it wouldn't be the people that you're thinking of. Yeah.
Does anybody even sleep? They just nap.
To go back to what Born Again Manchild says, he says, what is this a plug for? Something I've never used and never watched the promo videos for. Correct. I was more mentioning that it existed, very much like I've never used hobby figure case, whatever it is. Nor will I. But it's good for people. I was just more trying to talk to Lou Diamonds about, have you guys got any thoughts about being motivated about the piles of potential or like whatever that you've got, or are you thinking about like, do you know what I mean? Like, what have you, John? I feel like you're maybe sat on maybe the most of us. I know it's maybe.
Well, I've got 20 odd years worth of stuff, and it got to the point where I went, if this project's been sat there since I was a
Sitting behind
teenager,
on your shelf right now with the Christmas cards from like 4 years ago.
they're this year's Christmas cards, and they're staying up for at least a couple more weeks. But a good example, that Bloodthirster, like Tom touched on, 7th edition Demon Summoning, that's why I got that 3-4 years ago. And it's been painted recently because I finally went, right, I need to actually start clearing away. So I was doing what Rob does, where he goes, right, that needs to be done now. And just picking random things that I haven't painted to finish off a shelf.
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah, exactly the
Just
same.
getting gone with it. And I've got a little whiteboard where I've got kind of marked down what my next couple of things are, so that once I finish one, I go, right, the one I don't want to do out of these 3, I'm doing next. Because it kept being like, there'd be 3 on the list, and it'd be like, one of them would be painting a tank white or something. And I go, no, I don't want to do that one because that's the awkward one. And instead, I'm doing the one I don't want to do first to get it done. Because it's like, oh, that's the harder one, or it's going to take me longer. Just getting it done.
Just getting it done. So just a bit of like discipline is like so.
It's hard. It's so hard.
To like, so when I used to do a lot of martial arts, because I used to compete around the world, so we had to stick to a pretty severe training regime, and discipline was always. Go on, Dayton.
What did you do, Rob?
Are you joking me? Is this
What martial art?
Wait, did you already know this, or is this like...
I did
Stickman
not.
wrestling. It's Stickman wrestling
not.
he does.
Have you seen the game Kabaddi? It's basically a martial arts version of Kabaddi.
No, I don't know what those words are.
That's
This
a
is all
hilarious
gibberish to me.
reference. There's someone out there who knows
He was
Kabaddi is not...
goody at Kabaddi.
Oh my god. That's a hilarious joke to
That
someone
was
in the world.
horrific.
There's someone on the YouTube, someone on the podcast going...
That one guy.
Yeah.
One guy's in stitches. And the rest of us are staring blankly at the screen.
I used to do Bruce Lee's martial art, which is called Jeet Kune Do, and I used to compete around the world doing a Filipino martial art called Kali Eskrima Arnis, or Kali for short.
Oh my god, this is so good. Keep going.
What do you want to know? It's a
Oh
stick-based
my god, it's
martial
all
art.
new to me.
It's a weapons-based martial art with sticks. I used to travel around the world beating people up with sticks, and they would try to beat me up with sticks as well. I met a very lovely German fellow once, and I broke his thumb. Yeah, great times. Great times. Yeah.
Can you share some videos of you doing it? Because I think it's really interesting to actually show the community. Because I genuinely was like, that sounds really dumb. And then I watched a video of it and went, wow, that's brutal. And that's actually got some finesse to it. Because it gave me some appreciation. And I don't mean that as an insult. Like
It's
until I'd
just
seen
it's
it,
the
I didn't
lamest.
get it.
So my brother took up skateboarding, which is so cool. It's got this wicked subculture around it, and like he's just a cool guy, and he like chill down the streets, and he's like
I
listening
can
to
confirm
like,
your brother's pretty cool.
huh?
I can confirm your brother's pretty cool.
And he's just like, da, 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 and he's just listening to Fleetwood Mac and skating and drinking fucking juice and just like living my life. And then the other one, it's not a cool thing. We don't need to go on about this. This is not. I'll send you some videos later, Dan.
I'm looking at him right now.
So why didn't you do karate? Because I hear that's quite good.
Karate
Oh my
shit,
God.
I did it to
Oh
brown
my
belt.
You
God.
at
can
all.
strike
Fucking-
first and strike
I'm gonna-
hard.
No,
I'm
it's,
gonna fucking
I don't
stab
think
you.
you understand what it is, John. Just
No.
don't. It's fucking
Do you-
terrible.
John, they teach you to put your guard by your hip. Your face is not where your hip is. I could go on about this all day, but
Got
I
him.
Taekwondo is the worst martial art, though, let's be
Karate.
fair.
Huh?
Taekwondo is the worst martial art, to be fair.
It's got to go some way to beat karate, mate. I'm
It's gotta
someone
go
who
some
who
way
did a
to-
lot of karate for years, dude.
Nope. Taekwondo
Oh,
is
my-
the worst.
But if anyone wants an incredibly wise book to read, I do suggest reading The Tao of Jeet Kune Do by Bruce Lee, who had a master's degree in philosophy,
Tao?
which most
Oh,
people don't
dear.
know. Yeah,
Ooh.
different one.
I'm not sure I
T-A-O.
want that anymore. No, it sounds like the other one. I'm not sure I want to go anywhere near it now. Thank you.
Boring.
Rob, everyone that's trying to teach me stick fighting right now has a ponytail. What's up with that?
I had a ponytail
Of
for
course
years.
they do.
I had a ponytail for years.
Fucking hippies.
Type in Doce Paris, so DOCE PARAS, Eskrima, ESKRIMA. So that's what you want to look. Those guys are pretty scary. Anyway, let's get back to talk about piles of potential.
That's what I call my
Your penis.
no.
I call it. I
Potential
in a
that nothing
pile?
ever happened.
It's
Yeah.
in a pile. Let's
call it-
unpack
Hey,
that.
this- now.
I call it the Forgotten Kingdom.
Mine sits on top of my balls.
It's
That's
the broken
normal for everyone
realms.
else, right?
Anyway, so what were we talking about? We were talking about the fact that Games Workshop's got like. Do you feel like Games Workshop has got anything to do with this, or just like everything else? I mean, cigarettes are used to be marketed. So that's an interesting point. Cigarettes are marketed pretty aggressively, but obviously they're much worse for you than Warhammer. We also talk about the buy-in of going to an event as well. Obviously, you've got to buy an army so you can go and attend an event. That's a bit of a buy-in as well. But like K-Dread has said in the chat, is so good for his mental health, and I know for a fact that Warhammer is so good for me. I've met the most amazing people. Like I was talking last night to a lady, and Wap 92 if you're listening, and we were talking about, I can't remember. I was talking about the conversation I'd had with my friend Randy. And she was like, Warhammer people seem pretty cool. I was like, Warhammer people fuck. They're just the best. They're like, it's the coolest community to be in. Like, I've met, like, you three. You're all because of Warhammer, and you're all brilliant. But everyone in the chat, brilliant. Like, it's just great. So, but, like, you do have to pay to get into it.
Yes,
which is
a lot. And a lot of time.
A lot. And a lot of time. And there's something in that, right? I think. I'm not really...
Well, until you hit the shadowy cabal of people lending each other their shit for tournaments.
Only that. They're pooling their resources, Tom.
Yeah.
There is also that scarcity that I think that they perpetuate as well. So Indomitus was a good example of that the panic of missing out. There was that fear of missing out sort of element. And they were like, once it's done, it's done. So everyone then rushed to do it. So they were kind of encouraging that knee-jerk reaction. And like every time there's a new release of a box of something, it seemed to be continual. If you didn't go and buy pre-order on that Saturday, you'd miss out. And then people are like, well, I have to buy it. It's like, well, do you? Are you actually going to use that? And that seems to be something that they kind of are perpetuating themselves. And I think I can't help but feel it must be part of their business model.
It's intentional, for sure.
It has to
Without
be.
a doubt. You'd be naive to think otherwise.
Yeah.
That's not a stick. That's a club. That's like a 1-inch round tube.
So again, a screamer
Bar.
a screamer is a Spanish word for skirmisher. So effectively, they would just train a bunch of psychopaths to go and take bladed weapons and fight at the front of armies. Like you can use knives, whips, 3-section staffs, all sorts of stuff. Don't.
So it's like
Arco.
arco-flagellants or flagellant or
I
whatever
am
in
keeping
Empire.
you away from the forest. There's so many sticks.
Again,
He's like a dog. He runs and gets you the biggest stick.
Anyway, great people, the Filipino people. If you get the opportunity,
That's why
to meet
we're
them
all
as well.
on the show, Scrivo, because we all have the biggest sticks.
Anyway,
It's not why I'm here.
So I think someone was saying that stick crime is on the rise. It's all gone. We've all fought each other. What was it? Kaz Negri has said that he's brilliant, and obviously that's true. Lucas said, I bought Indomitus Hype, and I don't even like Primaris. So I would agree, because they're normal. Because the pre-order thing is weird, isn't it? Because why do they do a pre-order? Because they're not going to run out of things other than the things that they run out of. Like, if that makes sense. So, like, if it's Deathguard Plague Marines, why pre-order those?
Mate, it doesn't even arrive on the day it's released.
Yeah,
it's faster to get in the store. Support your local stores.
Yeah. So, like, do you know what I mean? I feel like I'm not sure. Obviously, the right answer to this is always like, make sure you're like being healthy mentally with like your practices and what you're doing for yourself. But some of that's hard because you're not taught that as a kid, or you grew up in a like in a tough environment or whatever the situation, or you're not even aware that like you're doing something. Like I think I only really realized now, because at the time when I was buying like armies after armies, I was like, I'm having a fucking great time. But like now I'm like really conscious. I'm like, actually not sure that was true. And I think having a conversation like this with you three, and then hopefully people listen to it, they'll be like, actually something for me to look at for myself, I think is a good thing.
And as someone that sells this stuff to people, I find it really tough because I want the sale, but at the same time, people come in and they're like, I'm just buying one of everything. And it is just really hard because you say to someone, like if they're in like my local club, it's like, are you actually going to need this? And they're like, oh, I'll buy 3 of them. It's like, but are you going to use 3? In reality, just because you can use 3 doesn't mean you need 3. And it's that horrible thing. It's like you don't want to perpetuate it, but at the same time, sort of my job. And there is a little element of guilt to me for that.
Dude, if they show up with the sandwich in one hand and a starter box in the other, and they put the sandwich back, then maybe you step in and interfere.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But it isn't easy because it's perpetuated by the fact that something's new and shiny and you have to. And it's like, but you don't have to.
Well, that's good marketing at the end of the day. I mean, ultimately, like, truthfully, like, I was always pissy about paying cinema ticket prices. Like, I love the cinema. I love the whole experience of the cinema. I love, like, the popcorn, the big sound, like the having to shush someone at some point later on in the film, any of those things. Like, I'm like, oh, they're definitely getting shushed later by me, and I fucking can't wait. Any of that is really exciting. I love the cinema. But sometimes I buy a cinema ticket, I'm like, you fucking kidding me? Like, because ultimately, like...
$8 for popcorn.
Yeah.
Cold popcorn.
Yeah, you can make it so good for yourself, right? You could, like... you can bring your own drinks in your own popcorn or whatever, and like make it so it's cheaper as possible, but it's still very marked up. And you could have just waited, but there's no way I was missing that film like that day. But it's not like the film was ever going anywhere. I could have watched it in a year's time at home; it would have been fine.
Tom, what are you addicted to?
Yeah, Tom.
I don't know.
Besides amazing hairstyles, what are you addicted to?
Hot takes.
True.
What is it? Music? YouTube videos? What is it?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it.
Huh.
I haven't played.
That's a good exercise.
I did play 2 games of League yesterday, but I have played 4 games of League in the last month, so it's not. Yeah. I think I'm free of that one.
Mark Merrill's a 40k player.
He is.
Yeah.
He came and watched our coverage of the Last Chance Open.
Yeah, he's a real nice guy.
I've never met him.
Have played against him. He's super
He
good guy.
played James McKenzie, who I know quite well.
Lovely fella, James McKenzie.
Oh yeah, he's really friendly. He's really good. I like James.
So Copenhammer Simon has said, 40k team tournaments have helped me narrow my army sections, but I do struggle, says Simon. Dude Day says, my local games workshop had someone come in just before lockdown, spend £400 a day on guard, then came back and bought one of every 40k start collect box. That might have been a bit over the top. That is a bit over the top. Unless, like, he just planned on just doing, like, these very small skirmish games where, like, it was each start collecting box versus his guard army, and he was, like, watching them, like, battle it out in some sort of hilarious fashion. But again, probably maybe a lit. Owen said Games Workshop release policy is like the Russian government's policy of confusion and destabilization. They never had a standard release method.
Yeah.
That is true. You never with the endless spells. Like Seraphon didn't get one, which someone reminded me of yesterday. And I was like, yeah, they didn't get one. Like, why?
They got everyone's.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
The magic race that don't have their own endless spells just seemed kind of odd, right?
It does seem weird. Like, there's never a plan. There's never a plan to the different releases, I think, is the key part. Anyway, I thought it was an interesting post, right? And an interesting conversation for everyone to have.
Well, it's a good self-exercise to actually figure out what you are addicted to, though. Because self-acceptance makes you more aware, and it might actually, I don't know, stop some of it a little bit, or you revel in it and realize that's what gives you pleasure. And right now, we need all the pleasure we can get. Hence why you never see my hands.
Is that why you're always staring intently at the camera, just like I can see what he's doing?
Just looking at Tom's hair and John's beard and seeing if they can have a baby.
Please no.
I was considering cutting it off, to be honest.
What, your beard?
Just trimming it down because it's just getting really unmanageable. It's a pain in the ass.
Don't do that. Don't do that. It's part of the feature of the show. Ultimately, I'm going to start wearing fatigues out just to scare people. That's my new thing.
I haven't shaved in a week.
Look, Castro's alive.
A week? Oh, you're doing really well. Is that all you can grow in a week? Fuck.
I'm a natural firefighter. Can't grow a facial hair to save my life.
All right. Well, listen. If anyone who's listening has got any thoughts on it and wants to leave it in the comments below or tweet us or any of that jazz, please do. Love to hear what people's thoughts are on that subject. I think that's good, and I think we've hit our time.
Yeah. I did lie. I won't be here next Sunday, but after that, then the Sundays are clear.
Woohoo! Okay. Well, Tom and John, thanks for joining us this week. You guys got any plans this week? John, any plans this week?
I'm going to carry on working on my Iron Jaws, is my plan. I've got some video stuff with you that I'm sorting out. And I'm going to try to do some more of my faction artwork for the... Because there was all those guys that pledged for the show. So they donated to the show for faction artwork. Might have been about a year ago. I'm not going to lie. But I'm slowly getting through them. So I did 2 of them this week. I'm going to do 2 more this week, which will be fun. So I'm going to do Deathguard because it's kind of on theme. And then Daughters of Cain because that's vaguely on theme as well. It'll just be fun to do. And it's been a nice exercise in forcing myself to sit down and draw for a couple of hours a day. So
Yeah, it keeps you accountable, doesn't it? Streaming stuff.
That's what you got to do.
I have to do it, and it works. And I learned that from Rob. It's like seeing him do the stream streak gave him a structure to his days. So I'm just thought, do that on a weekday. Gets me kind of sitting here at a time rather than bed.
Apart from over there.
Yeah, now we all have to like praise Rob because we know that he can kick our ass with a stick. You know what? Rob's doing an amazing job. He's just fantastic. He really holds this all together.
It's the organisational skills that just keep us all together.
Oh my God, Tom, you do anything this week?
These guys are just really toxic, aren't they?
I know, right?
I'm recording Emperor's Squadcast tonight. I'm interviewing with polls. I recorded yesterday as well, so we've got a lot of stuff coming for that. Hopefully, I'm going to get a lot of my Imperial stuff painted, but I am working every day on my normal hours, so I don't have as much time as I might do in the future, depending upon if a rota sorts itself out, so the actual teachers get in and do some teaching. But yeah, otherwise, pretty chill week. I just get to do whatever I fancy.
All right, lovely. Yeah, smash it out. Gitley, just in the chat, had the most emotional moment the other night. Spent 8 hours painting Mephiston and silver paint on sword, congealed as it dried and ruined everything. Literally the first one I painted in 2 months. I'm so sorry, Gitley. That is heartbreaking.
Just cut the sword off. Give it something else.
Yeah.
All right,
well, listen.
A little bit of white spirit or something on a Q-tip and just clean off the...
Oh yeah, you can strip it.
Yeah.
So Oliver Horton has asked a question about Longfang loadouts. I think we'd have to go and do some research on that. So Oliver, sorry I can't answer that question right now. But big shout out to everyone. Isopropyl will take it off, says Born Again Man Child. Gitley, there's a way to save the day. I
gotta go play the most handsome and charming man ever.
Mr. Owen Jackson.
Yep. And then we got Party at the All Points tonight. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
We're back.
I've been waiting for you guys to come back. I've been missing
thank you, John.
my podcast.
I can't beat you with a stick, so there's no need to praise me.
Exactly. Well, between you guys and the Rage Sigmar guys, I actually get a bit bored between podcasts. I'm like, come on, do another one already.
Well, the Rage Boys are like one every 4 months, so.
I know, right?
And the question is, does anyone really ever want to hear it? And the answer is always yes.
Yes, always, definitely.
Can I just say thanks to everyone in the chat? You're all brilliant. Loads of love. Take care of yourselves. See you all this week. Loads of shows, loads of fun. See you soon. Have a good